All right, so I'm out in our garage getting these brooder boxes ready for the chicks I have coming in the mail next week, and also hopefully we'll be having, at least a few of our chicks on the incubator hatching. Fingers crossed, all 8 of them that are still in there will fully develop and hatch, but who knows. I'm just gonna get these brooders ready. I'm gonna put shavings down in them, hang the lights, get the extension cords, get the feeders ready. Obviously not gonna put any feed in them right now, but I just want everything ready to go so when I run to the post office next week to pick up the chicks, that these are ready. I can turn the lights on before I go and have it all set for them when they come back, especially with, being next week, a single mom essentially while Trent is gone on his work trip. I want to be fully prepared so that I can just jump in the car, go, come back, and get them warmed up. So here we go. Naturally, I need a knife. So we get these pretty large bags of wood chips from the Amish that we get our feed from, and they get that from another local Amish family that has some type of a sawmill. So we pay, I want to say it's $8 for this bag, which is pretty compacted. So this is our first time using this for brooding, so I'm curious to see how it does with the chicks. Last year we bought bedding from TSC, so we'll see. These brooder boxes were made by my father-in-law and my husband, and they were boxes that were originally used as shipping boxes to hold molds, and then they just added the top pieces to hang the lights, and they've worked amazing. We had 3 of them last year, but one was pretty small, so it turned out just not really to be very effective. The walls were a lot shorter, and the chicks would fly to the top as soon as they were old enough. So the big one is especially awesome, and we brooded last year over 40, I think 43 meat chicks in there until they were old enough to go outside. And I think I have 18 or 19 chicks coming in the mail next week, plus the 8 that are in the incubator. So I'm planning on, for right now, just using the big brooder, and then our meat chicks won't come until April. So at that point we'll be using the large brooder again. We are going to keep them in our garage because our garage is connected to our wood stove and we can heat it. So that's the plan, to keep it warm. So for now, I'm only gonna use the big brooder box. I just turned on the lights to give an opportunity for it to get warm and make sure that my light placement is good and that they have a cool section where if they get too warm under the lights, they move away from them, that they're not gonna still continue to be too warm. For now, I'm just gonna use one of these little waterers, and I'm gonna put some of these glass marbles in them, which you can find these usually in like the floral section of like even grocery store or dollar store, and these just help. Making a mess here. These just help the chicks to recognize that this is where the water is, because they see something shiny and they peck at it and then they go, oh hey, water, I'm getting a drink here. This is especially helpful for turkeys. Turkeys are really stupid. We didn't have any of our turkey poults survive last year, but they say for turkeys that it's an absolute necessity to have the marbles. I don't know that it is for chicks, but I have them, so I'm gonna use them. This is what I use to clean these brooder boxes with. You know, we have never brooded chicks any other way because this was our first year last year brooding chicks, and this is what I had to start with. I found that just, you know, scooping the bedding out is really easy. When I was very pregnant, it was a bit difficult on my back, but that's how I change them out, is I just scoop it and, you know, take it to the compost pile, and I'll, you know, layer bedding on there for a while in areas where it gets wet, and then maybe like once or twice a week, depending on how dirty they're getting the bedding, I'll change it. But that is a big box, and it's a you know, a lot of bedding that's in there. So with the few amount of chicks that are going to be in there, it should stay pretty clean for quite a while until they get a bit older. When they're a bit bigger and I'm not as concerned about them like drowning or anything, I will use a waterer like this, which this one obviously needs to be cleaned. But right now, with how small they're going to be when they arrive, I don't want to risk them, you know, drowning or anything. So we'll start with this. We'll work our way up to this. I also like to check on my chicks a lot, and if you've had chicks, you'll know they will trash their water. I mean, chickens just do that in general. So I will check this many, many times a day. It's right in my garage, so I can walk out even with Ellie and just check on them, make sure they always have fresh water, which is so important for poultry, and you know, I can keep an eye on them. So I don't mind using these little waterers and having to change them frequently. So this is what the final setup is going to look like for this main brooder here. 2 waterers, feeder here, 2 lights, and cool areas here that they can get away from. Trent just went ahead and reinforced this here, and we zip tied everything down so we don't have any loose cords. You know, these are going to be obviously unplugged at certain times when the chicks get older, but we just want to make sure everything's tight. We use these chains here with these double clips, so there's no risk of these, you know, falling at all, which is obviously why heat lamps are a fire hazard. This is just what we have. Eventually, when we have, you know, the ability to invest in the brooder plates, I'd like to do that, but for now, you know, we have heat lamps and we use them safely. You know, this is all a strong setup. These lights are not going to fall. It would be pretty impossible for those chains to break unless we had a Godzilla chicken on our hand. I'll see you guys around. Thanks for hanging out with me.